Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Bay, and today I decided to do a monochrome sketch. And I normally don't do these. I don't have very many gray markers, but I just recently picked up a set of Premier Prismacolor ones from like the marketplace on Facebook, and it came with quite a few grays, so I was like, you know what? Let's give it a try. I thought that could be a lot of fun. So I wasn't entirely sure what to draw at first. I didn't know how to really use these colors. I love to use actual color, not just tones. So I definitely struggled in the beginning. But I did some sketches, like a sketch on the side, a little thumbnail when I was practicing, trying to get warmed up, as you can see. And I decided to go with it. I thought it would be nice to kind of keep it simple, but different than what I normally draw at the same time. So I decided to do this girl. She was standing and looking off in the distance, and she's got these ears. And I want to do like a little bit of a background because I normally don't do them. And I think I did alright on it. You guys can be the judge of that later. But it was definitely interesting. Unfortunately, I forgot to turn on my camera when I fine lined it, which is probably good because all those little lines above her head, I was smearing them left, right, and center, and I was getting so frustrated. So it was probably a good thing I didn't film the lining because it was kind of painful to watch. I was talking to my friend while I was doing it, and I'm pretty sure he was laughing at me because it was like, oh no, I messed up another line. Oh no, this really smudged it. But I just wanted to kind of frame the picture with something other than the top, and my colors of gray weren't light enough to really do like a background that would not pull away from the character. And I saw another YouTuber, Casey Golden, doing these in her illustrations, so I thought I would give it a try. I can't get as thin and small of lines as her. I don't know how she does it. It's incredible. But I think it turned out alright. I don't know if I'll do it again because it's definitely painstaking. Should probably get a better ruler. I've only got plastic ones, so maybe that makes the difference. But when I went into this, I wasn't sure what colors I wanted to use where. I knew I had some warm grays and some cool grays, so I was like, you know what? I'll work with that. I'll put the warm grays on because I think that would be a good color for hair. It seemed more natural, and I could use the cool grays maybe for the background or her outfit. I wasn't entirely sure where to go. As you can see, this is in my marker sketchbook. Again, I would love to use the other one that I have, but it doesn't like markers, right? So, and I really like how easy it is to blend on marker paper versus like I used to use cardstock when I do marker drawings, and it's not the same. So it was definitely nice to be able to pick this up and start to use it more. It's very smooth paper, and these markers were really nice on it. For those who haven't used this brand of marker before, they are bullet nibs, not brush nibs. And I'm actually finding I quite enjoy them, to be honest. I know a lot of people prefer the brush nibs like Copics, but for me, I don't know, I feel I have a lot more control with the bullet nib. I'm a pretty sloppy, I'm really sloppy at coloring, so it makes it a little easier to control where it's going. With the brush nibs, I find I go all over the place. It's gonna be a practice thing, but for now, I'm really happy with the bullet nibs. A lot of my markers are bullet nibs. Yeah, it's what I seem to prefer. But these markers here, they were better than I thought. The colors were really good, and the set I got had a lot that went together, so I was really excited about that. It only had a couple doubles, which isn't a big deal. There's a couple markers I'll probably use a lot of in more colored pictures. Though I am curious to see how these markers will interact with my other ones. In a previous video, I've used my Copic markers and my Spectrum Noir markers together, and they didn't really work that well. And I don't know if other people mix markers a whole lot. Maybe it's just the type I was using, I'm not entirely sure. So it'll be interesting to play around with these in my very limited supply of Copics and, you know, my Spectrum Noirs and all that fun stuff. One day I'd like to do a piece with each different kind of marker and see how each of them performs together. But for now, I wanted to do something still in spirit of, you know, Inktober and kind of do something I've never done, so that was the whole point of this. But can I say how much I just love the cool blues? They are just such a lovely color, and they look so nice for the pant color. It's just, oh, I love it. It's blue but gray, but not washed out, in my opinion. On camera, it kind of looks washed out now that I look at it. But in person, it's still pretty bright and still really blue, especially when you get into the darker tones. So for the background though, you can see I did like some mountains, and I did originally want to color them black. I did have a black marker that I was going to use, but I felt I put all that effort into the little trees and the cracks in the mountain. I was like, well, if I put the black down, it's just gonna, you know, it's gonna muck it all up. So that only left me with either cool tones or warm tones. So I went in with the warm tones first. I felt that was a better base than the cool tones. And I actually, I mix a lot of the colors together. I was really trying to separate the mountains from her because I didn't want too many of the same color touching. Like the tail and the mountains currently are the exact same color. And I didn't want to have them touching if I could help it. But I have so limited grays. After this, I might actually pick up some more. It was definitely an interesting experience to only use the monochromatic colors. So we'll see. I'll give that a shot in the future. But I think I made it work. That's the nice thing about the sketchbook. I was able to layer a lot of colors on top of each other to kind of get different tones, which was really, really good, because I know if I did that on like cardstock, it never would have happened, right? So if you guys are working on like marker pictures and you're like, oh, I can't figure out this blending, you know what? Pick up some marker paper, give it a try. It's a little expensive, but I have found it's made such a difference with the blending and how the markers sit on the page, the bleeding, you know, all that fun stuff. It's been such a treat to use the sketchbook. I've only used it a couple times, as you can see, but it's definitely been interesting, and it really gives me that excuse to try my markers more often and start practicing with them, because now I don't have to worry about, oh, well, it's gonna ruin my sketchbook. Yeah, it still bleeds through, like on the back, but it doesn't like bleed onto the next page. So I find that's what's more important. Like I'll doodle with pen on the page that's covered in the ink on the back, so that's not a big deal to me. As you can see, I'm trying to differentiate the mountains. I definitely love how these interacted with each other. And believe it or not, this marker I'm using right now is actually brown, like a really dark, warm gray brown, and it's basically black. So I'm really happy, actually, now that I think about it, that I stayed away from the black marker. I think it just would have been too much. I could only really use this brownish marker as an accent. I originally was going to use it to color the whole mountains, and I'm definitely glad I didn't do that. I think it would have just ruined it for me personally. It would have made it darker, yeah, but I didn't have anything else to blend with it, so I'll definitely have to look for a color range around that. For the grass, because I didn't have green, I took 3 different markers, and I kind of did like basically little spots and lines, kind of broken line art, kind of like in the sky, onto the grass to mix the colors together, and went over it with the base color to kind of blend it out and just give it texture, give it something of interest. So it wasn't quite the tail in the mountains, but it was still, it wasn't dark to the point where it was like, oh, well, what's the ground over there? I really, really, really like drawing the little trees on the mountain and in the distance. It's a nice way to draw trees without them looking terribly when they're in the distance. I don't know about you guys, but I'm not very good at drawing like plant life. I'd like to practice it, but every time I draw it, it comes out like this kindergarten looking mess. So maybe I should practice that a little more. So these pine trees in the distance definitely were like my saving grace here. Originally when I was coloring the hoodie, I was like, you know, I'm gonna color this whole hoodie blue in that cool tone. And then I looked down and I realized, right, her pants are cool tone. So I based it like off of a sweater I had. I have this Harley Quinn sweater and the sleeves are a different color than the base. So I thought that would look nice, and that way it's not all the same color. She's not blending in, because I couldn't use the warm tones again and the brown tone was too dark, so I thought this would look nice. I did use it to make stripes though, and I think that just helped make the sweater a little more interesting, because I honestly didn't have a design for the back. I honestly just wrote a woo for the sake of it, you know, something to fill in the background of it. What was nice though, even after the pens had dried, I was able to go in with similar colors and add more layers, add more depth, give those extra shadows, just something to pull away from the flatness of it. And I definitely did that quite a bit, especially with the mountains, with her pants I went over a few times, and the trees, or not trees, the bushes, because I thought that was super, super important to try and get them to look a little different. But I think I had like 8 different markers, so you know, it is what it is. Overall, even though I was really hesitant to draw this, like when I was originally sketching it, I showed my buddy Lukas, and I was like, you know, I don't like this, I'm gonna get rid of it. And he was like, you know what, no, I think you should finish it, it's really good. And just that little bit of encouragement made a difference to me. I was like, you know, maybe it's not as bad as I thought. So I just want to give him a quick shout out. Thank you so much, because at the end of the day, I'm really happy with this. And you know what, if you're ever unsure about a piece, share it with a friend. Just be like, hey, what do you think? Or this is what I'm working on, I'm not too sure about it. Just, it never hurts to get that second opinion, you know? Because I don't know. Yeah, I probably would have erased all of this and started again. And I wouldn't have challenged myself to do some kind of background like I did. So it was nice. I'm glad I stuck with it. Even though it was hard because of the limited markers, I'm still glad I stuck with it. With the mountains, you can see I'm going over them again. I was really trying to add something to them, keep them as different as I could, but could only get so much. However, I really it's unfortunate you can't quite see it as well as I can. I think all the different layers really helped with that. I wanted to use yellow, I really did, but it's like, nah, I shouldn't use yellow because it's a monotone challenge thing. So I decided I took the lightest colors I could find, and I went over it with a alcohol marker to kind of blend it out and give it some shape, some color, and I think that really worked. Though be warned, alcohol markers, just pure colorless blenders, they do bleed through onto the paper on the next page if you layer too much. I didn't know that, so just in case anybody else doesn't know that, be aware of that. It's kind of weird. You'd think it would act like any other marker. I wonder if just because there wasn't a lot of layers of color, maybe that it bled through, or maybe I used it too heavily. So it'll be something I'll experiment with, just kind of see how it reacts otherwise. I think I just put too much down in one go and it kind of absorbed too quickly. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was a lot of fun trying something new, and I'm really happy with how it turned out, as I've said a few times. If you guys have any suggestions what you'd like to see me draw next, let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a great weekend, everybody. Bye!